He lost the use of his legs saving his childhood sweetheart, only for her to abandon him and move abroad. I took my dejected childhood friend in, cared for him tenderly, and sought out every renowned doctor I could find. 3 years later, his leg was finally healed, yet, the first thing he did was seek out his now destitute sweetheart. His tone was filled with cautious hesitation. "Eneen, I'm not a cripple anymore. Let me take care of you, okay, given a second chance at life." I looked at my childhood sweetheart, pleading for me to return from his wheelchair, and merely responded with a cold sneer. "Han Wenzhou, this is your Medal of Honor for charging into battle for love. You should cherish it. There's been an accident at the intersection." A panicked cry rang out nearby. After a few seconds of blurred vision, the scene before my eyes began to come into sharp focus. A massive crowd surged toward the intersection. A familiar scene that overlapped with the memory of my childhood friend getting into a car accident years ago while trying to save his first love. I froze on the spot, soon jostled and staggered a few steps by the rushing crowd before pressing forward, until I saw Han Wenzhou collapsed on the ground, his ankle bent at an unnatural angle, blood steadily spreading across the pavement. Meanwhile, his beloved Shenine merely sat there with elegant poise, weeping as pitifully as pear blossoms bathed in rain, as if performing in a tragic stage play. It was then that I finally realized I had been reborn. In my past life, Han Wenzhou had done the same thing, pushing aside his cherished love when the car came speeding toward them. The price for his heroic rescue was a crippled leg, yet he accepted it without a single regret. Yet, Shenine abandoned him and went abroad to study just when he needed her the most. The once proud Han Wenzhou was suddenly cast into the mire, and from then on, he never recovered his spirit. I couldn't bear to see the boy I had admired for years fall into such a state of despondency, so I took him in, cared for him meticulously, and sought out renowned doctors far and wide for his sake. 3 years later, his leg was finally healed, yet, the first thing he did was run to his down-and-out first love. His voice was full of cautious tenderness. "Eneen, I'm not a cripple anymore. Let me take care of you, okay?" And I, like the used-up rehabilitation equipment, was left behind in that rental I'd foolishly called home, burdened with the aches and pains of overexertion. Just like the past he had so completely severed, I never imagined that upon waking, everything would be reshuffled. I was back at the very beginning, the point where it all started. Covering my face, I laughed and cried, tears streaming down my cheeks. "Han Wenzhou, I hope this time, even if you have to drag that lame leg of yours, you and Shenine will have a long and happy union, bound together for 100 years. Han Wenzhou's face contorted in agony, only letting out a few pained moans, unable to form a single coherent sentence. I stood quietly hidden within the crowd, watching his miserable state with keen interest, a wave of satisfaction washing over me. Even Shenyan's tearful, sobbing appearance began to feel oddly endearing. "Han Wenzhou, this is what you wanted, isn't it? Who needs an ambulance? Love is the best painkiller." In my past life, the moment I heard Han Wenzhou was in trouble, I immediately rushed through the crowd. After pushing aside the meddlesome Shenine, I called an ambulance for him right away. In the lull as we waited for rescue, he furrowed his brow and glared at me, forcing the words out with difficulty. "Don't you dare push my Eneen. No one gets to bully my girl while I'm down." He looked at me as if I were some villainous side character trying to sabotage their love story. My heart felt as if it had been slashed by a knife that had just cut a lemon, aching with a sharp, sour pang. Shenine gave me a smug tilt of her chin, then threw herself into his arms, clinging tightly, only making his wound bleed more profusely. I was about to reprimand them, but Han Wenzhou's fiercely protective glare struck me dumb. Now, whenever I think about how passionately I loved Han Wenzhou in my past life, it turns my stomach. Damn it, was I a complete idiot in my past life? I must have been kicked in the head by a donkey to have ever liked a loser like Han Wenzhou. Given a second chance at life, I'm never getting involved in the messy drama of that crazy couple again. At that moment, a kind-hearted passerby took out their phone, ready to call an ambulance for him, and casually remarked, "Hey, don't just stand there crying. Call the police for your boyfriend, quick." In his urgency, his voice rose a little without him realizing it. The spoiled little princess only cried harder as a result. Han Wenzhou's eyes reddened with anguish. He glared at the passerby and accused, "Don't you yell at her." The passerby's face flushed with a mix of anger and embarrassment. Finally, he rolled his eyes in exasperation and silently put his phone away. The other bystanders also gave up on helping. After all, if his own girlfriend wasn't even concerned, why should they go out of their way to be a nuisance? I'd had enough of the show and was starting to find it dull, so I turned to leave. The moment I turned my head, my eyes met Han Wenzhou's. catching a flicker of disappointment in his eyes. A slight smile touched my lips as I quickened my pace to get away. The next time I saw Han Wenzhou was 2 days later. The counselor organized a few classmates who were close with Han Wenzhou to visit him at the hospital. As his childhood friend who grew up with him, I was naturally among those invited. From Han Wenzhou's roommate, I learned the aftermath of the car accident. As the crowd of onlookers grew larger, Shanine finally, belatedly, remembered to call an ambulance. Without my intervention, all that chaos meant he was past the window for optimal treatment by the time he reached the hospital. In the end, Han Wenzhou had to have part of his lower leg amputated, shattering any hope of a full recovery like in his previous life. For a perfectionist like Han Wenzhou, this was a devastating blow. And this was only the beginning. I had spent a long time steeling myself, and I thought I was finally ready to face Han Wenzhou with composure, but when I saw him again, weak and lying in a hospital gown, a surge of intense anger and hatred erupted in my heart. He had looked just as pitiful back when Shanine abandoned him. His face was deathly pale. He was so thin he was almost unrecognizable. Lying there sickly in bed, he wouldn't speak or eat, just stared blankly out the window. It was as if he might vanish from this world at any moment. I let out a soft sigh and reached to pour him a glass of water when he suddenly grabbed my wrist, his eyes filled with a desperate plea. "Xiaoyun, you're all I have left, you won't leave me, will you?" I said yes. Because of that one promise. I stayed by his side through the 3 hardest years. I started working myself to the bone, scrimping and saving to cover his exorbitant medical bills. At the worst of times, I survived on just 4 hours of sleep a day. As a complete disaster in the kitchen, I painstakingly studied recipes and ruined several pots before finally managing to cook a healthy meal that was both delicious and nutritious. I went from hospital to hospital, trying both traditional Chinese and Western medicine, all in a desperate bid to cling to the faintest glimmer of hope. I even placed my hopes in the divine, kowtowing with every step from the foot of the mountain all the way to the temple. Before the Buddha, I prayed, willing to trade 10 years of my own life in exchange for his full recovery. By divine providence, I found a reclusive miracle healer deep in the mountains. After 2 months of persistent pleading, the healer finally agreed to treat Han Wenzhou. With the healer's miraculous skill, Han Wenzhou made a full recovery in 3 months, moving freely with almost no trace of his former injury. Meanwhile, the video game program Han Wenzhou wrote perfectly caught the wave of the times, and its copyright was sold for a sky-high price. I thought we had finally made it through the hard times. Little did I know, the very next day, Han Wenzhou, who had just become my fiancé, vanished without a trace, just as I was frantic enough to go to the police. An algorithm pushed a trending video to me. There, in the city's central square, my beloved fiancé was staging a grand, public proposal for his childhood sweetheart. He knelt on one knee, his gaze holding a tenderness I had never seen before. His hands trembled uncontrollably from nerves and emotion as he slipped the ring onto Xinyin's finger. As the New Year's bell tolled and brilliant fireworks painted the sky, they shared a blissful kiss amidst a sea of cheers and well wishes. A perfect match, a talented man and a beautiful woman. They looked like a pair carved from jade. I let out a bitter laugh, tearing off the makeshift ring Han Wenzhou had fashioned for me from a soda can tab. A sharp, suffocating pain clenched my heart. Where there is no love, there is only stinginess. I was just a stepping stone on his path to true love. The bridge he burned after crossing, empty words were all I got, not worth another thought. My thoughts snapped back to the present. I glanced at Han Wenzhou's foreline where the blood had backed up, his empty pant leg, and Shanine, who was completely absorbed in her phone nearby. I looked away and quietly followed behind the counselor and my classmates, uttering a few perfunctory, polite phrases. After the pleasantries were over, the counselor called Shanine out of the room. Just like in my previous life, she was being told the happy news that her study abroad application had been successful. Without a doubt, Shanine would make the same choice. I smiled with quiet satisfaction. "Xiaoyun." Just as I was about to leave with the main group, Han Wenzhou suddenly called out to me. His expression was sorrowful, and his frail voice drifted over. "Xiaoyun, how have you become so distant? The Xiaoyun I know isn't like this. If she saw I was in a car accident, she wouldn't just abandon me, and she certainly wouldn't take this long to come see me." Oh, so he does remember how good I was to him back then. But how did he treat me in return? I sneered inwardly, but kept my expression neutral, throwing the very words he once said to me right back at him. "You said it yourself, you only see me as a friend, and told me not to get the wrong idea or meddle in your business." My words left him speechless. After a long silence, his lips parted as if he was about to say something, but just then, Shanine returned. The guilt on her face instantly twisted into venomous resentment the moment she saw me alone with Han Wenzhou. Xiaoyun, how dare you have the gall, sneaking around to seduce him when I'm not here. My Wenzhou only has eyes for me. Don't humiliate yourself. Shanine cursed at me while reaching out to slap me. Han Wenzhou watched in silence, offering no defense on my behalf, even though he knew Shanine was being unreasonable. I sneered and took a step back, dodging the slap she aimed at me. I looked at her with leisurely composure, raising an eyebrow. Don't worry, I don't have a habit of scavenging through trash. You can keep that piece of garbage for yourself. With that, I turned and walked away without a backward glance, ignoring the wounded look on Han Wenzhou's face. Perhaps because of Han Wenzhou's amputation, Shanine left even earlier than she had in her previous life, guilt-ridden. She didn't tell Han Wenzhou about her plans to go abroad and slipped away quietly on her own. She said her goodbyes to everyone else in private, and even I received a text from her that felt like a challenge. Xiaoyun, mark my words, even if I'm gone, you still won't be able to beat me. I couldn't help but laugh. She really hadn't changed a bit. On the night Han Wenzhou proposed to her, she also posted a friends-only moment, visible to me alone, a picture of interlocked fingers, captioned with a short line. All I have to do is stand there, and he will love me. The old me might have felt wronged and heartbroken seeing this, but now, Han Wenzhou means nothing to me. The boy who promised to protect me forever has long since rotted away, bit by bit. In those youthful years, I replied, I'm kind of shipping you two now. May you be locked together forever. Without waiting for Xinyan's reply, I immediately blocked all contact with her and Han Wenzhou. In this life, I'm going to live for myself. Putting my phone down, I buried myself in my studies and began preparing for the upcoming final exams. It wasn't until the next roll call in our major specific class that I realized Han Wenzhou hadn't been attending for a long time. His roommate said that Han Wenzhou was like a walking corpse these days, barely surviving by drowning himself in alcohol. I didn't care. My mind was only on how many vocabulary words I had left to memorize and which difficult course problems I needed to ask the professor about after class. Time flew by, and before I knew it, it was final exam season. As I was leaving the exam hall, I literally bumped into Han Wenzhou, who was there to file his leave of absence paperwork. He had grown much thinner, his cheekbones slightly prominent, struggling with the wheelchair, a far cry from the spirited man he once was. I pretended not to see him and walked right past, yet, he suddenly seized my wrist, his voice trembling as he said, Xiaoyun, are you going to abandon me too? I pulled my hand away from his, speechless. Don't talk as if we have some kind of relationship. Stay away from me. I have no interest in being the rebound guy. I looked at his hand gripping the wheelchair and gave a nasty smile. Besides, transportation is so advanced these days. Studying abroad doesn't mean you'll never see her again. She only left you once. It's not that big of a deal. You love her so much. What's the harm in forgiving her just this once? Can't you be a little less petty about it? He lowered his head, a pensive expression on his face. A smile of interest played on my lips. According to the timeline from my past life, Shanine should have already found a new boyfriend in Paris by now. I was genuinely looking forward to seeing Han Wenzhou's reaction. That very night, Han Wenzhou booked a seat on the next available flight and flew straight to Paris. Our mutual friend, Brother Liu, was worried about his safety. After failing to talk him out of it, he had no choice but to accompany him on the trip. While waiting to board the plane, he sent me a ton of messages. Xiaoyun, Han Wenzhou has completely lost his mind. To think he'd go to such crazy lengths for such a heartless, ungrateful woman. As his brother, it's so frustrating to see him like this. I just wish he'd wake up. Xiaoyun, I can't talk any sense into him. He always listened to you before. Could you try to talk to him? With a blank expression, I found a screenshot from my album, one Shanine had specifically sent me earlier, of Han Wenzhou's social media post and forwarded it. In the picture, Han Wenzhou wore a doting smile as he knelt on one knee to put socks on for Shanine. The cloyingly sweet, over-the-top declaration was practically blinding. Ladies on my feed, don't bother talking to me. I only listen to my sweetheart. He didn't even reply to the female teacher's WeChat messages reminding him to submit the competition questions. When she came across this post on his moments, the teacher slowly typed a question mark in the comments section. There was a noticeable pause on the other end. The typing indicator lingered at the top for a full 2 minutes before they awkwardly sent, "About to board, talk later," and swiftly ended the uncomfortable conversation. It had the distinct air of a hasty retreat. They arrived on a weekend, and Shanine wasn't at school. As for Han Wenzhou's number, Shanine had blocked it the very day he left. Consumed by a helpless rage, Han Wenzhou shook off Brother Liu when he wasn't looking. Stubbornly, He wheeled himself back and forth through the apartment complexes surrounding the school. Perhaps it was fate, but he actually found Shanine on a stone bridge. Yet the scene before him was a dagger to his heart. Shanine was the only child in her family, doted on and spoiled by her parents since she was little. The Shin family had power and wealth, ready to clean up any mess she made, no matter the mistake. At every stage of her life, there was no shortage of opportunists fawning over her. She was also strikingly beautiful, adored by boys since elementary school. It was only natural that she grew up arrogant, spoiled, and willful. Ever since she got together with Han Wenzhou, he spoiled her absolutely rotten, whether it was making him queue for 2 hours in the winter to buy her favorite breakfast, or him giving up an important competition just to be with her. Han Wenzhou never complained. In fact, he always wore a blissfully happy smile while doing these things. But after all this time together, this was the first time he saw such gentle, attentive affection on Shanyian's face. Shanine clung to the arm of the tall, handsome mixed-race man, nestling against him like a little bird. Whatever he whispered in her ear sent her into a fit of giggles. Then, with a shy smile, she rose on her tiptoes and planted a kiss on the man's chiseled cheek. Han Wenzhou's eyes blazed with fury, his face a mask of terrifying rage. A surge of white-hot anger drove him to wheel his chair forward. He wanted to lunge at the man who had cuckolded him, but his impaired mobility betrayed him, causing him to stumble and fall from his wheelchair. The scene was both pathetic and absurd. His palm was cut by sharp stones, yet he seemed to feel no pain, his gaze fixed solely on Shanine as he demanded an explanation. Shanine curled her lip in disdain. Look at the state of you. How could you possibly be worthy of me? I was only with you in the first place because you were handsome. It was just a bit of fun. Now you're a cripple. Did you really think I'd take care of you for the rest of your life? I'm not your devoted little childhood sweetheart. Han Wenzhou's eyes blazed with fury. You bitch, I ended up like this because of you. Shanine, fingers interlaced with her new boyfriend's, said indifferently, I never asked you to save me. You threw yourself at me all on your own. Driven mad with rage, Han Wenzhou struggled to throw a punch at them, but Xinyan's new boyfriend kicked him straight into the river. Han Wenzhou couldn't swim. By the time Brother Lu arrived, he had already lost consciousness. Brother Lu called to tell me that Han Wenzhou was running a high fever and kept calling out my name in his delirium. Xiaoyun, he's really learned his lesson this time. He's seen that woman for who she truly is, and he genuinely knows he was wrong. Is there still a chance for you too? He used to. He really was very good to me in the past. He fought off the bullies for me, saved up 2 months' worth of breakfast money to buy me a teddy bear, and even promised under a shooting star to protect me forever. The affection in his eyes couldn't be faked. While I wasn't as bold as he was, I made sure to respond to his every gesture. When he got into fights for me, I'd patch up his wounds and help him with his schoolwork. When he gave me a teddy bear, I stayed up for nights on end to make him a handcrafted bracelet in return. He promised to protect me forever. So I gave him my whole heart, praying for the boy I loved to have a lifetime of peace and happiness. Everyone just assumed we were a couple because, aside from a formal confession, the care and affection we showed each other was no different from that of a real couple. I want to believe that the boy he once was truly cared for me. It wasn't until I met Shanine that I realized how fickle the heart can be. I cut off Brother Lu's rambling. I remember you have a younger sister. Given who Han Wenzhou is now, would you be willing to introduce him to her? Brother Lu almost instinctively thought of all the messy history between Han Wenzhou and Shanine. His brow furrowed involuntarily, and he fell silent. See, even a good-natured guy like Brother Lu knows that Han Wenzhou is no good for you now. He fell silent for a long time, which finally dissolved into a sigh. I'm sorry, Xiaoyun. I wanted so badly for us to go back to the way things were that I didn't consider your feelings. After that day, Brother Lu never again took it upon himself to report Han Wenzhou's situation to me. I finally had a period of peace and quiet. My feelings for Han Wenzhou gradually settled from the initial, teeth-gritting resentment into a calm acceptance. It's not worth wasting my emotions on someone like him. I can't even be bothered to spare him my hatred anymore. As graduation approaches, I'm spinning like a top, busier than ever. In my past life, taking care of Han Wenzhou consumed me. I missed several important exams while constantly running around, and on the day of the postgraduate entrance exam itself, I collapsed from sheer exhaustion. Now that fate has given me a second chance, I'm determined to cherish every moment and not waste a single second on people who don't matter, free from those external distractions. I threw myself wholeheartedly into self-improvement, diving deep into my studies and actively competing to win awards. In my senior year, I successfully secured a spot for graduate school through the recommendation-based admission process. During the autumn recruitment season, I also received offers from several well-known companies thanks to my outstanding resume, my top choice company, even after learning I had the graduate school spot, was willing to hold a position for me until after I completed my master's degree. To make commuting for my internship easier, I moved out of the dormitory, right outside my apartment building. I ran into the last person on earth I ever wanted to see. A cold rain fell and a steady drizzle, a biting wind blew, and the sound of rolling tires echoed from the wet pavement. Han Wonjo had no umbrella. He wore only a thin white shirt, hunched over in his wheelchair. The fine rain soaked him through his hair and clothes plastered wetly to his body, looking every bit like a stray puppy. But this time, I won't be taking him home again. I used to love seeing him in a white shirt the most. That boy in white, so youthful and unrestrained, made my heart skip a beat for countless seasons. Now, all I want to do is mutter, what a scheming man, trying the self-inflicted hardship trick. Huh, I clicked my tongue in disdain. Feeling sorry for a man is a surefire way to invite a lifetime of bad luck. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up. He straightened his back slightly and began wheeling his chair slowly toward me. He looked a bit flustered, as if struggling to find the right words, before finally blurting out, "Xiaoyun, how have you been?" I lost my patience and turned to head upstairs. Seeing I was about to leave, he panicked completely and reached out to pull me into a hug. I was utterly repulsed. With a quick, evasive sidestep, I darted away as if he were some disgusting vermin. His hand froze in midair, a flash of pain and confusion in his eyes. "Xiaoyun, do you still blame me?" He hung his head, clutching his hair in anguish as he wept softly. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I'm such a jerk. I betrayed your genuine feelings for me. Well, in that case, I guess I'll just take a quick look." Until one day, Shanine stopped me with a triumphant look on her face, like a victorious rooster. She raised her head defiantly and waved the pregnancy test slip in her hand. "Xiaoyun, you've lost again. I'm pregnant." Overcome with emotion, he began slapping himself hard across the face. "It's always been you." I was just confused by her. If she had never come along, we would have been so happy together. "Xiaoyun, please give me another chance. I swear, I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." This scene reminds me of a line from a book I once read. Men are all too fond of making vows, and their promises are no different from a dog's bark. The perfect overlap between the scene in the book and reality drew a scornful laugh from me. I stared at him coldly, driving every word straight into his heart. "Oh, you want to spend the rest of your crippled life making it up to me? Is that compensation, or revenge? If that's the case, you'd better find someone else to compensate. I have no interest in being an unpaid caretaker." He was incredulous. "You think I'm not good enough for you?" I yawned, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "How could I ever dare, Han Wonjo? This is your badge of honor, earned in your valiant charge for love. You should treasure it." With that, I strode quickly toward the elevator. Just as I was about to press the button, Han Wonjo's muttered words reached me from behind. "But in our past life, you never cared about these things." My steps faltered, but I only paused for a second. As I closed the balcony window, I glanced down at the street below. Han Wonjo was still standing there, frozen. Hearing the sound from the balcony, he suddenly looked up and shouted at me, "My leg will definitely heal, even if you look down on me. I still love you, Xiaoyun. Wait for me to come back. I'll prove to you just how much I love you." The light sleeping woman next door was woken up and angrily shouted, "Can you let people sleep or not? What's wrong with you in the middle of the night? You men are all full of crap." I silently gave the woman a thumbs up in my heart. Han Wonjo fell silent, crestfallen, and left with a face full of sorrow. All that remained was a lonely, stubborn figure retreating into the distance. Later, he loitered around the entrance of my apartment building for several more days. After being turned away multiple times, he seemed to have fallen into a stubborn, obsessive loop. He believed that if his leg was healed, we could go back to the way we were. After leaving me a cringe-worthy love letter, he left City B and frantically searched for a way to cure his leg. But even after he left, he never stopped his presumptuous concern. He got my contact information from someone, switched to a new number, and continued to harass me. I just went ahead and changed my number, keeping only a few regular contacts. My world became much quieter, though I still heard news of him from time to time. A classmate said they saw him at a hospital in City A, and a friend mentioned spotting him at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital in City C. He really did start over. These are all the places I traveled to for his sake in my past life, places where the treatment showed some promise. He's merely following in my footsteps, retracing the very path I once blazed for him. For a long time after that, even Brother Lu couldn't reach him. Han Wonjo seemed to have completely cut off all contact with the outside world. I suspect that, after all hope was lost. He must have gone deep into the mountains to seek out that reclusive miracle doctor. Just as I did back in the day, old Lou was an eccentric man. He made a series of outrageous demands, hoping to make me back down, but for Han Wenzhou's sake, I gritted my teeth and endured it all. In the end, he looked at me, my eyes brimming with hope, and with a resigned sigh, he nodded and agreed to make an exception for me. As old Lou prepared the treatment plan, he stroked his beard and said to me, somewhat cryptically, "Don't forget the trap once you've caught the fish. Or burn the bridge after crossing the river. Girl, remember to keep your wits about you, don't be a fool." I was so overjoyed by the hope for Han Wenzhou's leg that I didn't dwell on the deeper meaning. Looking back now, as an outsider, he actually saw things more clearly than I did. I just don't know if Han Wenzhou's little show of insincere devotion will be enough to move old Lou this time, but whatever the outcome, I don't care anymore. A new chapter in life has begun, with more opportunities and challenges awaiting me. During my graduate studies, I met many like-minded friends and encountered knowledgeable, rigorous, and dedicated mentors. Every day was busy yet fulfilling. That day, as I returned from studying at the library as usual, I heard my roommate's exclamation the moment I walked through the door. "Holy crap, Xia Yun, get over here and look. The CEO of Hansha Group is publicly confessing his love to you." Before I could even process what was happening, my roommate thrust her phone screen right in front of my face. Hansha Group is a rising star in the gaming industry that recently shot to fame with a massively popular competitive game, Han Wenzhou. Its CEO and largest shareholder was giving an interview to the media, drawing on the experience from his past life. He didn't simply sell the rights this time. Instead, he founded his own gaming company. In the video, impeccably dressed in a suit, he exuded a mature and effortless charm as he chatted amiably with the reporters. I noticed Han Wenzhou's movements were slightly labored as he walked onto the stage. My gaze instinctively shifted to his legs. And that's when I realized he was wearing a prosthetic. Sharp-eyed netizens clearly noticed it too. The comments section was flooded with sympathy, with many exclaiming that the disabled CEO trope from novels had become a reality. Young, accomplished, resilient despite his disability, and undeniably handsome, it was inevitable that the reporters would steer the conversation toward more personal topics. Han Wenzhou gave a light chuckle, neither confirming nor denying it. Between the lines, he was hinting that he had a childhood sweetheart. He had mentioned the naming of his current company several times, and the reporter astutely picked up on the cue. Seizing the opportunity, the reporter pressed further. "Mr. Han, could you share the story behind the name Hansha Group for your company?" Han Wenzhou smiled. "The name Han Hansha comes from combining her surname and mine." He paused for a moment, looked up at the camera with a smile, and added, "What's more, I intend to give her half of my shares as a betrothal gift." The room erupted in an uproar. The journalists were stunned for a second, then immediately offered their congratulations. Playing along perfectly, Han Wenzhou agreed to everything, then massaged his forehead with a hint of helplessness and said, "But we've had a bit of a falling out recently. She probably doesn't want to see me." The comment section exploded. "Who is she? She's so lucky, damn, with a boyfriend like that. I'd be slapping myself if we ever argued." The disabled tycoon and his high-maintenance childhood sweetheart. "Oh my god, it's like a novel come to life." Green with envy. "Aren't we all? Am I the only one who thinks this childhood sweetheart is a bit too much?" Netizens quickly dug up my info, and the kind-hearted ones launched a cross-platform campaign to help Han Wenzhou win her back. In just this short amount of time, some fans have already started writing fanfiction about us. The more I read, the deeper my frown became. It felt like being force-fed something utterly disgusting. I have to hand it to you, Han Wenzhou, you really have a special talent for being revolting. Just thinking about it is enough to give me nightmares. I jumped in fright, quickly handed the phone back to my roommate, and immediately started gathering all the love stories between Han Wenzhou and Shanine over the years. Luckily, I had saved all their cutesy couple videos and photos before deleting them. Just in case I got guilt-tripped out of the blue one day, I spent the whole night sorting through their relationship timeline from the very beginning. I even spruced up their bittersweet love story a bit and compiled it all into a 100-page PowerPoint. It's so detailed, you could practically play it at their wedding. Oh my god, I've become a shipper for the two of them. The very next day, before I could even post my clarification, the world outside had already turned upside down. First, my senior lab mates, under the same advisor, lured me to the square across from campus under the pretense of work. Just as I started to sense something was off and tried to make a run for it, a brilliant, multicolored firework display spelled out my name, exploding high above the entire city. The fireworks went off, and so did I. watching the vast swathes of fireworks, bursting in the order of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, flamboyantly announcing their presence in the sky. I wished I could dig a hole right there and disappear. Han Wonjo knelt on one knee, his face full of deep affection, the prosthetic leg faintly gleaming with a metallic sheen. Several sentimental onlookers were so moved by the scene that they covered their mouths, tears welling in their eyes, while chants of "marry him" rose and fell around them. Han Wonjo himself seemed deeply moved. Cradling a bouquet of 999 roses in one hand while clutching a diamond ring in the other. All right, you really had to come out swinging with the grand gesture right from the start, huh? I was completely dazzled by Han Wonjo's whole flashy, over-the-top performance. For two people in love, this is the other's clumsy yet fervent expression of affection, but I just find it sickening. I've already witnessed a grand proposal like this once before, in my past life. It was in the video of Han Wonjo proposing to Shanine. He didn't even bother to change the script. I closed my eyes, not even having the courage to look at him, hearing the same lines he had used to propose to Shanine in our past life. I felt so cringed I could have dug a whole Barbie dream house with my toes. Just as I was racking my brain for a way to escape this place, Shanine saved me from the awkwardness. She rushed out from the crowd, her eyes rimmed red, and threw herself into Han Wonjo's arms. Once the golden girl, she was forced to shoulder a mountain of debt after her father was imprisoned, a far cry from her former haughty self. Shanine, looking utterly pitiful, poured out her feelings to Han Wonjo. "Wonjo, none of that was true. I never got another boyfriend. I hired someone to put on that act for you that day, with everything that happened to my family. I just didn't want to drag you down with me. Wah, how? How could you betray me and fall for Xia Yun?" Han Wonjo was in no mood to listen to her nonsense right now. She had just lunged at him, causing him to stumble. His prosthetic limb was knocked loose and went clattering across the floor toward the crowd. For a proud man like him, that prosthetic was his last vestige of dignity and composure. All the careful poise and control he had meticulously maintained shattered in that instant. He shoved Shanine away and, dragging himself along, frantically groped around the feet of the onlookers for his prosthetic. Yin's words exploded through the crowd like a thunderclap, plunging the scene into chaos. "Someone, I don't know who, kicked it, and the prosthetic limb rolled to a stop at my feet." Under Han Wonjo's earnest gaze, I slowly slipped my hands into my pockets and turned to leave without a moment's hesitation. With so many people in the square recording videos, and given the existing buzz, the incident quickly trended online. Among the thousands of comments, most were roasting Han Wonjo and Shanine for their ridiculous antics, with a few occasionally criticizing me for being too cold towards Han Wonjo, who has a disability. One particular comment really stood out from the rest. "Holy crap, I was in the class next to theirs in college. Those two were already completely unhinged back then. How did they manage to go viral for it?" The online spectators quickly rushed to ask for the inside scoop. The original poster didn't hold back, launching straight into a lengthy third-person commentary. Each of these incidents, taken on its own, is absolutely mind-blowing, but the most jaw-dropping of all have to be these three events. When they were breaking up with Shanine, Han Wonjo ran through the rain, circling her dormitory while shouting, "Shanine, do you have any idea whose love you're rejecting? You're rejecting the love of a god." During the blood draw at the physical, Han Wonjo kissed Yin's injection site to soothe her pain. At the restaurant, Han Wonjo proceeded to kiss each of Yin's fingers, which the waiter had accidentally brushed against, right in front of the server. After witnessing all this, the onlookers were utterly speechless. Someone asked me out of curiosity, "So what does Xia Yun count as in all this?" The other woman, the OP, instantly replied, "No. She's the poor sucker who got played." A buddy of mine knows Han Wonjo. Apparently, right at the start of freshman year, Han was all set to confess to Xia Yun, but on his way to do it, he saw Shanine and fell head over heels at first sight. He said it was the first time he'd ever felt his soul tremble. He just dropped the confession plan and started chasing Shanine instead. Netizens instantly felt sorry for me. Even the ones who had previously called me heartless started apologizing. The devoted persona Han Wonjo had just built up for himself crumbled to dust overnight. I seized the moment when the buzz was at its peak and released the detailed timeline and presentation. The caption read, "Childhood sweethearts are no match for a destined encounter. You all shipped the wrong couple. Hashtag Han Wonjo Shanine. Hashtag crazy couple. Hashtag Xia Yun the unlucky scapegoat." These two hashtags shot straight to the top of the trending list. Hanxiao Group's stock plummeted, leaving Han Wonjo scrambling to put out the fires. Meanwhile, Shanine was pestering him relentlessly, a classic case of a doomed pursuit. She had nothing left now, clinging desperately to Han Wenzhou as her only lifeline, but she didn't realize that the more she acted this way, the more Han Wenzhou grew to despise her. The Shin family's bankruptcy happened a year earlier than in my previous life. Out of curiosity, I looked into it and found that Han Wenzhou had actually played a part in accelerating their downfall. It was probably his revenge for Shenyin cheating on him. No wonder he was so unmoved by Shenyin's heartfelt plea. Turns out he was the one pulling the strings all along. After learning the truth, I was just left with a profound sense of melancholy. So much for his so-called genuine feelings for Shenyin. I stopped actively following their back-and-forth drama. But netizens keep tagging me daily to watch the circus. I kept my face blank and replied flatly, "Oh, congratulations." My lukewarm reaction clearly annoyed her, and she launched into a vivid, blow-by-blow account of her intimate moments with Han Wenzhou. It was so graphic and explicit, I felt like I'd been transported to the bedroom of some seedy love hotel. All this was happening right there on the busy sidewalk. With people streaming past and traffic flowing by, I silently covered my face. Standing next to her was just so embarrassing. If I've committed a crime, let the law punish me, not make me listen to erotica on the street. What's the difference between that and taking a dump in the middle of the road? Before she could say anything even more shocking, I quickly cut her off. Shenyin thought she had gotten under my skin, and her smile grew even more smug. "Xia Yun, he will definitely marry me. You simply must come to our wedding when the time comes." But in the very next second, Shenyin's smile froze on her face, a distinct handprint materialized on her cheek. She stared in disbelief at Han Wenzhou, who had rushed over. "You hit me, you bitch. How dare you scheme against me? You acted so high and mighty before, but now that you're down on your luck, you resort to drugging me and crawling into my bed." Shenyin placed a hand on her stomach, her eyes welling up with tears. "How can you say that to me? It's only because I love you. I know you're just saying that in anger. And I already regret it. Besides, I'm carrying your child. Can't we just forget all the unpleasantness from before and live a good life together?" Han Wenzhou's face was full of disgust. "Ugh, who knows if that child in your belly is even mine?" "Han Wenzhou, you've gone too far." "Fine, you're forcing my hand. I'm going to your company right now to let all your employees know what an irresponsible scumbag you are." Having said that, Shenyin, crying, pulled open the door of a taxi by the roadside. Han Wenzhou hurried after them, but not before leaving me with one last, sickeningly sweet remark. "Be good, I'll come find you after I deal with this." Seriously, are you out of your mind? I stood there alone, utterly speechless and completely bewildered. Following the last firework confession video, netizens were quick to update their meme material. Their latest round of antics was soon reenacted by various drama-focused content creators. Someone even captured my speechless expression and turned it into a reaction gif with the caption, "Stop the nonsense." Looking at the memes the internet was running with, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A lot of lovely netizens came to encourage me, telling me I should never forgive that disgusting guy. I took their good advice, steering clear of the crazy drama, and focused on enjoying a happy life. Coincidentally, my university had a rural research project at that very time, and I applied for it without hesitation. To my surprise, the village we were sent to was right next to the mountain where the legendary healer, Old Man Lu, had lived in seclusion in my past life. With the day's research tasks completed, the professor and students gradually made their way back to the arranged dormitories to rest, having some time to myself. I decided on a whim to wander over to the bamboo grove where Old Lu often took his strolls. As I approached the bamboo grove, I spotted the energetic figure of Old Lu practicing Tai Chi, his back to me. Seeing my old friend safe and sound, a sense of relief washed over me. I was about to slip away quietly when I accidentally stepped on a dry twig. Hearing the sound, Old Lu turned his head immediately, seeing it was me. A flicker of surprise and delight shone in his deep-set eyes. I ventured tentatively, "Old Lu." Old Lu gave a haughty hum and greeted me with feigned solemnity. "It's been a long time, lass," I smiled, not dwelling on why he also retained memories of a past life. It was enough that we were both safe and well. I jogged over, took the wine jug from him as I always used to, and followed him up the path toward the bamboo hut on the mountain. A jug of wine and a plate of peanuts were all it took for two friends, despite the age gap, to talk for hours on end. Only after old Shen had gauged my current feelings toward Han Wenzhou did he tell me about Han's visit to the mountain to seek his medical help. The old man told me with great pride how he had made Han Wenzhou dig up a whole hillside of wild vegetables and carry 2 months' worth of night soil. In the end, he drove him down the mountain and told him to find employment elsewhere. Han Wenzhou had no choice. After being fitted with a prosthetic limb, He struggled through over a year of arduous rehabilitation just to be able to walk slowly again. I couldn't help but chuckle at old Lou's vividly descriptive account. Mr. Shen looked me over carefully and asked once more, "You're really over him, aren't you, girl?" I said playfully, "Of course, if you happen to know any quality gentlemen, you must introduce them to me first." Mr. Shen's eyes lit up, and he immediately started flipping through his address book. He pointed to a long list of numbers and began introducing them to me, one by one. "This is my eldest apprentice's nephew. He's about 5 years older than you, the chief neurosurgeon at City A's First People's Hospital, handsome as they come, steady, thoughtful, and considerate. And this is my second apprentice's son. He just got back from studying in Germany this year." He got more and more worked up as he spoke, and finally just shoved the address book right into my arms. "Oh, forget it. I think they're both quite promising. Why don't you just add them both, get to know them one by one?" I refuse to believe you won't find a single one you like. I held the address book, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. "You're a real go-getter." The old man lifted his chin with pride. "You bet. Back in the day, I was the first among my buddies to win a wife. The mountain signal was terrible. Our research team was practically offline the entire time. By the time we wrapped up the research, the romance between Shanine and Han Wenzhou had already progressed to a fever pitch. To force Han Wenzhou to take responsibility, Shanine went straight to the rooftop of our school and threatened to kill herself. The two of them were locked in a stalemate on the rooftop for over an hour, dredging up old grievances without end. The principal let out a sharp, piercing shriek, and the security guard on duty today was sweating bullets. In the end, to protect the company's reputation, Han Wenzhou resorted to a delaying tactic, promising Shanine he would marry her after she gave birth, finally bringing the whole farce to a close. My roommate was putting on a whole live reenactment right in front of me, complete with dramatic gestures. You have no idea how ridiculous these two are. They were haggling back and forth like vendors at a flea market. Shanine demanded that Mr. Han marry her right away. He refused, saying it had to wait until after the baby was born and a paternity test was done. Shanine said that was too long. 6 months was her absolute limit. Shanine is back in her blissful bubble, posting daily on the platform about how much Han Wenzhou adores her, and she tags me in every single video. Of course, she never missed a chance to give a shout-out to her unborn baby, showcasing her baby bump in creative ways, 3 times a day like clockwork. Then one day, her updates suddenly stopped. An insider revealed that she had been in a car accident and suffered a miscarriage. The driver who hit her was a middle-aged man she'd never met, and it appeared to be nothing more than an accident caused by drunk driving. But Shanine refused to believe it. Like a mother who had lost her child, she wandered the streets, desperately seeing her child in every face. This time, Han Wenzhou, quite uncharacteristically, stayed by her side for a while. A photo, accidentally taken by a passerby of them shopping together, actually held a touch of warmth. Just when everyone thought they were settling into a quiet life, the news broke with the shocking story of Shanine stabbing Han Wenzhou multiple times. The report mentioned Shanyine's motive. She had accidentally found the driver's number in Han Wenzhou's phone, grew suspicious, and ultimately discovered that he was behind the car accident. She also uncovered that the evidence which sent her own father to prison was provided by Han Wenzhou to her father's business rival. Shanyine's mental state was already fragile. During the argument, she directly grabbed a fruit knife from the table. Although it wasn't fatal, Han Wenzhou suffered severe kidney damage and will have to live with a urinary bag for the rest of his life. During the police investigation, doctors diagnosed Shanine with a mental disorder, and she had to be sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. Han Wenzhou was sentenced to 7 years in prison for hiring someone to assault another person. The day he was sent to prison was the very day I graduated with my master's degree. He sent word that he wanted to see me one more time. I politely declined. "Of course, see him, you must be joking. Elder Liu has lined up over a dozen dates with eligible bachelors for me. I can't even get through all of them. Why on earth would I waste my time on him?" The end. Story 2. Everyone knows that the person that the richest man Liam Fu likes is his unrelated sister. For her, Liam Fu could miss our wedding and the birth of our child. Even when I was so disheartened that I took my daughter abroad, he didn't remember to call me until 2 months later, after making such a fuss for so long. "It's time to come back, right?" Then the daughter's baby voice came over the phone. "I have already found a new father for mom. Please don't bother us." To Liam Fu, "I am still the joke of the community. Everyone knows that Liam Fu doesn't like me and only married me because of family alliance. People in the circle say that I am pretentious. I knew he didn't love me, but I still rushed to marry him, which was just asking for trouble. Liam Fu didn't show up on the wedding day, and I became the laughingstock of everyone. Even when our child was born, his father was not there. All this is because of his white moonlight, Zara. She is an orphan adopted by the Fu family's nanny. The nanny and Liam Fu have a very good relationship, like mother and son. After the nanny died, she was naturally entrusted to stay in the Fu family and became like a sister to Liam Fu. However, his preference for Zara exceeds his love for me and everyone else. It always makes people feel that they are more than just brother and sister. I got married to Liam Fu. Zara disappeared, leaving behind only a note. Liam, I've been thinking about it and I don't know how to face you after you get married, so I chose to leave. Don't come to me. Oh, how could Liam Fu not go find her, even if she was at school? He wanted to know her news at all times. What's more, she's missing. So, Liam Fu was worried about handing it over to others, so he went there himself. I was the only one left at the grand wedding that was reported by the media in turn. I want to escape, but I can't leave. I can't be willful. At that time, the family company had some problems and Fu extended a helping hand. This business marriage is based on sincerity, but also on interests. I could only hold on to the end and see off my relatives and friends with gritted teeth. Tell them politely and tactfully that Liam Fu is just worried that something might have happened to his sister. But everyone knows that Zara is not a sister of the Fu family. They have no blood relationship. She is already 24 years old and has a lot of ideas. She ruined several of Liam Fu's relationships. She has proven time and again that she is more important than Liam Fu's girlfriend. Everyone in the industry knows the truth, but they dare not say it out loud for fear of offending Liam Fu. But as Liam Fu's careless wife, I became the subject of their after-dinner gossip. Elodie can't even beat a little girl, yet she dares to call herself the most beautiful woman in Beijing. When that little girl grows up a little, she should abdicate. Of course, everyone knows that Liam Fu cares more about the little girl, and Elodie just shamelessly married into the Fu family. I say Elodie is just being pretentious. She knew Liam Fu didn't like her, but she still insisted on getting involved in this mess. Isn't she just making things difficult for herself? I endured such rumors for 5 years. Our daughter is 5 years old now, and Liam Fu has never mentioned divorce, but what remains unchanged is that Zara will always be his first. I will never forget the day when I gave birth to my daughter. I cried and screamed his name in pain, but he never showed up. He didn't see how miserable and painful I was, nor did he see my daughter for the first time when she was born, because that day, he was at Zara's graduation ceremony. He gave her flowers in public and was invited to give a speech. Everyone envies Zara and says she is the apple of the richest man's eye. I have forgiven Liam Fu countless times, but the only thing that cannot be forgiven is that he neglected our daughter for Zara. My daughter Lele is 5 years old and is in the middle class of kindergarten, but her father never picked her up. I mentioned this to Liam Fu, but he thought it was unnecessary. Every time I go to pick up my child, I hear people whispering about the fact that my daughter doesn't have a father. I don't mind hearing this, but Lele is still young. How can he endure this? The whole world knows that he is very busy. He is in charge of a huge business group and has a lot of things to do every day. Besides, the Fu family already has a driver and a nanny, so why should he waste his time? Yes, picking up and dropping off his daughter and cultivating the father-daughter relationship is a waste of time for Liam Fu. But I know that when Zara was in school, Liam Fu picked her up and dropped her off every day. How could he have had so much time to waste in the past? That night, I had a falling out with him for the first time. Liam Fu, if you like that little girl, divorce me and marry her. What are you doing? With a pop sound, he was furious and raised his hand to slap me. What nonsense are you talking about? That was the first time he laid hands on me. 5 years ago, after I gave birth to my daughter. He came late. I cursed him in the worst way, but he just held my hand and said sorry. But when it comes to Zara, what? Do you feel disgusted too? I sneered. Then what do you mean by this now? I disgusted him again and slapped him in the face. Finally, he covered his face, slammed the door and left in anger, not returning all night. Liam Fu beat me reached my parents. They are on holiday in England. In recent years, our family's businesses have gradually moved abroad. The original marriage with Liam Fu was a business marriage, but that's not necessary now. Nian Nian was the one when our Yun family encountered a crisis and the Fu family helped us, but he is in his current condition, and I don't think there is any need to live together with him any longer. Our family doesn't need the help of the Fu family now. How long are you going to drag it on? Get a divorce while the child is still young. My parents advised me earnestly. I looked at the red mark in the mirror and gradually lost my temper. Don't worry, I've already found a lawyer. I comforted them. just treat these 5 years as feeding the dogs. I was discussing with my lawyer about drafting an agreement when Liam Fu called and asked, "What time does Lele finish school? I'll pick her up." I laughed. "Who am I doing this for? Lele has been out of school for an hour. She has finished her dinner." Hearing this, Liam Fu fell silent. After a while, when I was almost losing my patience, he said, "Nyan Nyan, I'm sorry about yesterday." I felt no wavering. Hearing this, he remained silent. Liam Fu waited for a long time, but I didn't say anything, so he got anxious and said, "If you hadn't said such harsh words yesterday, I wouldn't have." I interrupted him impatiently. "The damage has already been done. What's the point of saying this now?" Liam Fu did not give up, and he picked up Lele on time the next day. The father and daughter returned home talking and laughing. Lele told me happily, "Dad said that the whole family will go on a trip during the summer vacation. Mom, I want to see the desert. I want my dad to hold me and ride on the camel." "Okay, summer vacation is just 2 days away, and traveling won't delay divorce. Of course I won't let Lele down." I pinched her rosy little face and said, "Okay." Lele is very happy. Liam Fu also breathed a sigh of relief. He probably didn't want to feel guilty. What a pity. The trip for our family of 3 did not happen. Liam Fu broke the appointment. I heard that Zara left without saying goodbye and went to Switzerland. He had to go after his little girl. That morning, Lele dragged her small suitcase and squatted on the stone steps at the door, crying and refusing to listen to anyone's advice. At the same time, my mother's old illness worsened. I was worried about her, so I bought plane tickets and took Lele to the UK with me. Before I left Liam Fu with a divorce agreement, but at the airport, we met again. I walked up to Liam Fu and told him, "Lele and I are going to England and won't be coming back for the time being. Don't joke." Liam Fu looked at me indifferently, his voice sounding very impatient. The broadcast sounded, and both flights were about to take off. At this time, Liam Fu's assistant came to tell him that Miss Sue was on that flight. "You can still catch up now." When he heard this, his expression eased a little. He turned around and gave me another instruction, "Take good care of Lele, come back soon," Liam Fu said, then turned and left. He firmly believed that I would not leave him. I looked at his tall back and didn't know what to say for a moment. When the plane arrived over the UK, it was just before sunrise and the sun was about to break through the clouds. "Yesterday everything is over. I will have a better tomorrow. Everything will start again." What a good sign. After landing, it was my brother Yunza who came to pick me up. Over the years, he has been taking care of his parents and managing the business here. I asked my parents to keep it a secret from him, so he didn't know that Liam Fu slapped me. If they knew, they would probably tear down Liam Fu, but even so, my brother was still very happy when he knew that I was getting a divorce. They should have divorced a long time ago. That guy is not a good match at all. We really shouldn't have entered into a business marriage in the first place. That being said, a business worth tens of billions is no joke. Besides, I really liked Liam Fu at that time. If he was willing to marry me, I would naturally be willing to marry him, but I regret it now. When I got home, I breathed a sigh of relief. My mother was in good health. She just felt sorry for me and wanted to see me soon, so she lied to me that her old illness had relapsed. Regarding my failed marriage, my parents felt sorry for me for a long time and scolded Liam Fu again. The scolding didn't stop until Lele woke up. The old couple teased their adorable grandson before getting down to business. "You're not going back, are you? Take a break for a while and go to the company to help your brother." "Yes. It just so happens that the company has many young talents. Ask your brother to help you with whichever one you like," the old couple said with relish. I didn't refute it in time. I know that they see that I have had enough of the bitterness of love and want me to have a taste of sweetness. At this time, Lele raised his head and stared at the 2 elders blankly with his innocent and lovely big eyes. "Blind date. Are you trying to find a new dad for me?" "No, Lele." I thought Lele was unhappy and was busy explaining, but who would have thought that the next second the little girl suddenly clapped. "Great, Lele wants a new daddy." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You know what a new dad means. The new dad is mom's new husband. My deskmate has a new dad, and she said her new dad is very nice. I asked her how she was doing, and she said she was richer than her old dad and would buy her lots of toys. "Mom, if I have money I can buy lots of delicious food and fun things." The little guy cheered happily. Before I could think of how to answer, Lele held his chin and answered sullenly, "But I think being rich is not necessarily a good thing, because my father is very rich, but he always makes my mother and I sad." I felt sad because the kid knew everything. Lele suddenly thought of something, tilted his head back and shook my arm. "Mom, you should also find a new father for Lele. Look for someone who will smile at mom, spend her birthday with her, and prepare surprises for her with Lele. Anyway, it has to be different from Dad's. She said this, pursing her lips. Dad doesn't do anything. He always makes Mom unhappy. Her little head is all about me. Suddenly, I couldn't hold it back and started crying. My darling, having you is enough for Mom. After a few days of rest, I officially started looking for a job. I didn't choose to work in my own company, after all. The majors are not suitable. I studied broadcasting and my dream is to work in a TV station. Fortunately, it is never too late to start your dream, and Lele also said that she wanted to see her mother on TV because it was cool, and the next sentence was, this way her mother could be seen by more outstanding uncles. I'm blessed by her little mouth. As soon as I joined the TV station, I met two romantic partners. One of them is my blonde-haired and blue-eyed colleague. A local rich second-generation guy. He said he fell in love with me at first sight. The other one was a former Chinese senior of mine. When he heard that I was divorced, he invited me to dinner and told me about his love for me back then. My brother encouraged me to pursue love boldly. He said, who wouldn't like a wonderful and beautiful woman like you? I think he has changed. He used to always say I was ugly. Later, he seemed to suddenly think of something, and pulled me aside and asked, by the way, does the man surnamed Fu know about this? I might as well just cuckold him. I was speechless. I didn't want him to know in the first place, and I hadn't been in touch with him for a long time. Later, Liam Fu really found out. I stayed in the UK for 2 months. Lele's summer vacation is over. I found a tutor for her, connected her to local courses, and prepared to enroll her in school. Before that, I tried to politely tell Liam Fu, but he didn't answer my call. I tried calling him several times but he didn't answer. The divorce lawyer told me. I went to see Mr. Fu, but when he heard that I was your man, he refused to see me and didn't even ask why. The divorce agreement is still in my hands. I am so angry and I don't understand what Liam Fu is trying to do. I contacted his special assistant directly, but she told me politely, I'm sorry, ma'am. You don't have to tell me. Mr. Fu doesn't want to hear anything about you for the time being. I gnashed my teeth in anger. Just as he was about to say something, his special assistant spoke first. Because it's you, Mr. Fu seems very sad. I've never seen President Fu like this before. The old chairman called him an immature boy. The old chairman is Liam Fu's mother. I didn't finish listening and hung up the phone. Liam Fu's immature looked too many times, but I don't know what he is sad about, until this evening. I was asleep and Liam Fu called me out of the blue. He was drunk. Speaking in a deep, incoherent voice, Elodie, you are so cruel. You just left me for a strange man. I'm wondering if you ever loved me. At home, he calls me by my full name. There is no affectionate name between us. This is very suitable for our business marriage relationship. Elodie, where did you put the matching tie? Elodie, my daughter is crying. Come and comfort her. Elodie, this coffee is getting worse and worse. You didn't make it, and you're just trying to be perfunctory with me. Elodie, I command you to return to me right now. Elodie, I won't allow you to find other wild men. I told my best friends, but they didn't believe me. Everyone knows that the richest man is aloof by nature, being cold to everyone, except for the girl named Zara. But this cold and aloof man has become a support for other girls. He is the perfect support for Zara, but he brings out the worst in me, Liam Fu clearly, because every man out there is better than you, because every man out there is the best person to rely on. Next time we meet, don't call me by my name, call me Miss Yun, because it's more natural and more suitable for us. I hung up the phone and felt much better, but the next day, someone is bothering me again. It's Zara. She came here to call for punishment. Why do you want to hurt Liam? How has Liam ever wronged you? He has never thought of divorcing you. Zara said the last sentence with tears in her voice. My face turned colder. It's not your turn as an outsider to intervene in the affairs between him and me. You are so young but you have such deep thoughts. I'm kindly reminding you that women with deep thoughts are prone to losing both their money and their lovers. I don't know how this sentence of mine touched Zara's sore spot. She suddenly raised her voice. I'm not little anymore, uncle. If I can help you celebrate my birthday today, I will be 25. By the way, today is also your birthday, isn't it? You'll be 28 after your birthday. Is it possible that it's not me who's younger, but you who's older? I don't know what kind of bad fate it is. Zara and I actually have the same birthday, married for 5 years. Liam Fu never remembers my birthday. He only remembers it after Zara is over and gives me one, so. I piled all the birthday presents he gave me in the cloakroom without opening any of them. I don't need this kind of convenience. It's unnecessary to think about such boring things. I don't want to talk nonsense with Zara. I only replied, 28 is indeed not young. You must not live to this age. Sent successfully. I smiled. Zara is so fragile. Will she cry? I made Liam Fu's sweetheart cry. When he sobers up, will he call me and blame me? Probably. After all, Zara is so important to him. I didn't expect that the next day I would actually see Liam Fu's face appear in front of me. Seeing him walking towards me, I walked around him without saying a word. Elodie, what do you mean? He grabbed my hand and said through gritted teeth. I looked at him indifferently, with no expression on my face, as if I was looking at an insignificant person. I remember I told you, please call me Miss Yun. How long are you going to make this go on? He looked a little cold and sneered. It's time to stop playing hard to get. I couldn't help but chuckle when I heard him say this. If you think I'm making a fuss, then I have nothing to say. Also, please let me go, Mr. Fu. I have to go to work. Liam Fu's eyes suddenly narrowed. Come back with me. I bit my lip, tightened my grip on the bag, and took a deep breath. We're divorced. As long as I don't sign, you will still be my Mrs. Fu. Her understated voice was as cold as ever. The emotionless Mrs. Fu made my heart tremble. Mrs. Fu, oh, how ironic. After he had injured me all over my body, he calmly called me Mrs. Fu. I no longer care about being called Mrs. Fu, and I can no longer bear it. I used to be so happy about this identity, but now I feel so miserable. What does it take for you to get a divorce? I looked at him and asked. Divorce? Liam Fu suddenly laughed. He raised his hand and pinched my chin, forcing me to look into his eyes. He looked down at me with his dark eyes, his lips showing a cold look. Divorce is impossible in this life. I endured the pain in my jaw and glared at him angrily. Finally, he dragged and pulled me back to my country by force. You are a lunatic. I cursed him madly, but he didn't care at all. Lula can't live without me. If you take me away, she will cry if she can't find me. Don't worry, she will come to accompany you later. Liam Fu really didn't lie to me. He picked up Lele in the evening. Mom. As soon as the little guy saw me, he ran towards me excitedly and hugged me. Mom, why do we have to go back to Dad's house? The little guy looked at me innocently and asked. I avoided the child's eyes and said, Are you sleepy? Mommy will take you to bed. After coaxing Lele to sleep, I tiptoed out of the room and wanted to go downstairs to drink some water. Unexpectedly, I met Liam Fu halfway, and we bumped into each other. And I felt his hot skin. I felt like I was electrocuted. I hurriedly pushed him away, my face stiff, and said, Why are you here? This is my home. Why can't I be here? Unlike my stiffness, the man didn't show any discomfort. Perhaps noticing my expression, he raised his eyebrows and sneered. Why, are you afraid to watch? It's not like you haven't seen it before. Elodie, why are you pretending to be innocent with me now? Pretending to be innocent. My hands at my sides tightened unconsciously. I looked at Liam Fu's sneering expression, ignored him, turned around and walked downstairs. But the moment she raised her foot, the man grabbed her wrist. Behind him, his voice sounded a little unhappy. Elodie, I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? I have nothing to say to you. Oh, there is a limit to playing hard to get. Playing hard to get. I turned to look at him in disbelief. I didn't expect that he still thought I was playing hard to get. Liam Fu, I'm not that cheap, isn't it? He half squinted his eyes. He suddenly approached, and I looked at his handsome face, which gradually became bigger, and my expression froze unconsciously. Liam Fu looked at my changed expression with interest. My face was slightly flushed and I stared at him. He was dazed for a moment, and was about to say something when I suddenly pushed him away. He met my gaze with disbelief. The disdain in my eyes was already very obvious. He thought he had seen it wrong. Even after we met again, I was always on edge towards him. Liam Fu's face, he had always been high and mighty, so when had he ever been looked at like this by a woman? No, Liam Fu, no one will always be that mean, I said and walked out without looking back. When I left, I could feel his burning gaze behind me, staring at my back. After a while, his face suddenly darkened. I went straight downstairs. Forget Liam Fu's words. The hands at my sides tightened unconsciously, and I suppressed the abnormal panic in my heart. I hated him and was afraid of him. But, a simple action of this man still makes me feel uneasy. The corners of my lips curled up, adding a hint of sarcasm. I walked downstairs, but saw the woman who had just walked in. The beautiful eyes suddenly narrowed, because that woman is none other than Liam Fu's sweetheart Zara. Elodie, why are you here? The moment Zara saw me, she was smiling, but it was obvious that the smile did not reach her eyes. I know she is good at disguising herself, so I'm not surprised, but I didn't expect Zara to be here. Does this mean that she lives here? It seems that a lot of interesting things have happened during this period. This is my home. Why can't I be here? On the contrary, Miss Sue, why are you in my home? When I said this, I didn't show any expression, but there was a hint of coldness in my words. Zara was shocked for no reason. seeing the servants in the distance looking over. She suppressed her fear, forced a smile, and said, "Sister, what are you talking about? Of course Liam allowed me to be here." "Oh, but it's not good for you to just go in and out of a married man's house, right?" I sneered and walked closer to Zara. Zara's eyes turned cold, and she said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "Liam's house is my home. As for you, why don't you just die?" "I'm not surprised to hear this," I just sneered. "Zara, you can't pretend to be a pure lotus anymore. Your true colors are revealed. What do you think would happen if your Liam saw you like this?" My voice is very low, but it inexplicably makes people feel cold. Zara was obviously startled, looked at me, and then pretended to be in pain and said, "Sister, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand? How can you think of me like this?" I simply admire Zara's acting skills, and I feel it would be a shame if she didn't become an actor. In the last second, she looked like she wished I would die, but in the next second, she turned into a poor little sister who was hurt by her words. I looked at her, feeling sarcastic. "Who are you performing for again?" As expected, Liam Fu's cold voice came from behind. "Elodie." Zara saw Liam coming down. Her eyes trembled, and she said after a while, "Liam, it's my fault. Sister Elodie seems to have some misunderstanding about me and has been saying that I am vicious." Liam Fu's face darkened instantly. "Elodie, she's just a child." I looked at the man and sneered, "You're still a child at 25. Hearing this, Liam Fu was stunned, and his face darkened in an instant. "Elodie, stop being so sarcastic." "Okay, you think I'm being sarcastic, right? Why don't you let me take Lele away with me? I'll take her to live somewhere else and give this place to you. Wouldn't that be better?" Hearing this, Liam Fu's face darkened to the bottom. He looked at me and gritted his teeth and said, "Elodie, don't even think about it." Hearing this, Zara's face froze, and I looked at her with a sneer. "See, it's not that I don't want to leave, it's your Liam who won't let me. Or, do you have any way to make him let me go? I will take Lele and leave now." Zara looked unhappy. She barely pulled the corners of her lips, looked at the man, and said with a pitiful look, "Liam, I didn't mean that. Since my sister is back, don't let her misunderstand me again. I'll go back first." Having said that, he left without caring what Liam Fu said. I watched Zara leave and just felt it was so artificial. Is this making me unhappy? I looked up at Liam Fu and said sarcastically, "Your lover is unhappy, why don't you go and check it out?" What if, before she could finish her words, the man yanked her hard, causing her to fall over. Her chin was lifted up by his cool fingertips, and her eyes met Liam Fu's. "Elodie, it's only been a few months since we last met, and you become so sharp-tongued." I was silent and didn't say anything. I saw Liam Fu looking at me coldly, unexpectedly. There was no disgust in the man's eyes as before, but instead a bit of anger. "Or was your previous appearance as a lady from a noble family all a disguise to please me?" He said this, and there was an inexplicable hint of anger in his sarcastic tone. I didn't know what he was angry about, so I just curled my lips and said, "Does it matter? No matter what kind of person I am, you don't like me, Mr. Fu. Instead of hating me, why not let Lele and I go, Mr. Fu? Aren't you afraid that if I stay here, it will affect the relationship between you and your lover?" A cold word came out from his lips, "Get lost." There was no expression on my face as I pushed the man's hand away and strode outside. After a moment, his voice sounded again behind him, "Elodie, get out of here and never come back. Don't ever think about seeing your daughter again." The answer to him was the sound of me slamming the door. When I came out of Liam Fu's apartment, I went straight to see my friend Xiaomi. Maybe it's because of my natural personality. I seldom lose my temper and I used to be very obedient to Liam Fu. But now we are getting divorced, and I don't want to endure it anymore. In a bar in the city, "Miss Yun, I've heard Xiaomi mention you a long time ago. You are really beautiful." "That's right. I heard that you are still single. Have you ever considered finding a boyfriend?" "Go to hell. I was the one who asked you first. Stop cutting me in." Xiaomi said to call her friends over, and she really called some over right away. There were 3 or 5 handsome young men, and when they saw me, their eyes widened. I kept blaming Xiaomi for not introducing her earlier. Xiaomi said innocently, "It's not my fault. It's because Nian Nian didn't want to find her. Today is a rare opportunity. I should seize the opportunity." "Xiaomi, stop kidding me. I'm not very good at talking to men, and this is the first time I've seen such a scene." Although it was a joke, I still found it a bit overwhelming. Liam Fu saw when he pushed the door open from a distance. The beautiful eyes suddenly became gloomy. I was still dressed simply as usual, but I don't know if it was because I had drunk alcohol, but the way he looked at me seemed a little different. Liam Fu pursed his lips tightly and his expression was exceptionally cold. "Xiaomi's friends are my friends, Miss Yun. can you please leave me your contact information? I was stunned and opened my lips to say something. I was caught off guard and someone grabbed my wrist, pulling me over with great force. I stumbled, looked up and saw the man's clearly beautiful jaw. What are you doing here? Maybe because I was drunk. My voice was stuttering a little. Liam Fu pursed his lips tightly, with a half-smile on his face. What do you think I'm doing here? I was already drunk and my steps were unsteady, and being dragged out by the man like this made me look even more embarrassed. People passing by, whether they knew me or not, all looked in my direction. My face turned pale and blue. Liam Fu. Let me go. The man didn't let go. Instead he held my grip even tighter, and I unconsciously spoke again. Liam Fu. The man still ignored me and dragged me out. Car front. I looked at the man, my expression showing some pain. Liam Fu. I have been hiding from you for so long. Are you still not going to let me go? Seeing his face darken, I hurriedly continued. I've had enough of this kind of life in the past 5 years. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes again. When will you let me go? Let you go? Elodie, you were the one who pestered me in the beginning, and now you just want to walk away. Do you think I, Liam Fu, am someone you can take whenever you want and throw away whenever you don't want? Ever since he saw me in a bar with 4 or 5 other guys, Liam Fu has been feeling this manic depression in his heart. He attributed his anger to the fact that I didn't take good care of Lele. He felt that his daughter didn't even have a good meal at home because she was waiting for me. I, on the other hand, am living a life of debauchery out there, without any awareness of being a mother. Mommy, are you guys fighting again? Lele's appearance suppressed Liam Fu's anger. She hurried to my side. Naturally, I wouldn't say anything in front of Lele. Maybe because we had just had a fight, I slept very uncomfortably that night. I dreamed about many things from the past. For example, I was the only one who endured gossip at the wedding, and I desperately gave birth to Lele in the operating room. Lele was said to be a wild child without a father, and was pointed at by others. When I woke up in shock, I found that my whole body was covered with sweat, which was very sticky. I gasped unconsciously, and the scene in the dream was still floating in my mind. When I woke up in the morning, Liam Fu was already up, inside the restaurant. When can you sign? Liam Fu was slightly startled and shocked by what I said. He pursed his lips and said nothing. I added, I can forgive you for what you did to me, but I cannot forgive you for ignoring Lele for the past 5 years. I can tell you, don't even think about it. The corners of my mouth raised with a sarcastic arc. You don't know how I have been through these 5 years. You don't know what Lele has suffered in these 5 years. She, a child who obviously has a father, was described as a wild child without a father. Hearing this, Liam Fu's eyes changed slightly, and after a long pause, he said, Sorry, Mr. Fu, you are so cunning. Do you think that all the hurt can be wiped out by apologizing? You think it's too simple. I laughed, full of sarcasm. Liam Fu pursed his lips and said in a deep voice, Stop it, Elodie. It was my fault what happened back then. I sneered. How dare I? What did Mr. Fu do wrong? Seeing that I was unwilling to forgive him, Liam Fu's heart tightened a little. Elodie. With a creaky sound, the door suddenly opened and Lele outside immediately ran in. Seeing that I was awake, Lele was instantly extremely surprised. She threw herself into my arms and called out like a spoiled child, Mom, are you awake? My heart softened instantly, and I said gently, I'm sorry, Mom didn't coax you to sleep last night. Mom, I'm okay. Lele grinned happily and laughed wildly. I rubbed Lele's head, then turned my cold eyes to Liam Fu. Mr. Fu, I don't want to get entangled with you anymore. Please let me and my daughter go. Liam Fu was silent. He stood up, looked down at me and said, I won't let you go. Liam Fu turned around and walked away with a murderous look in his eyes. He took out his phone and called his special assistant. Help me find out who is bullying Lele in school and who said Lele doesn't have a father. I was already pulling Lele to leave, but we were robbed back halfway. Let me go. Assistant Zhang, you are detaining me and kidnapping me. I want to call the police. I struggled with Assistant Zhang's hand, my voice cold. Assistant Zhang wiped the sweat off his face, his smile a little stiff. Madam, I'm just following orders. Ha, I sneered in vain. You didn't care about our life and death before. So what's the meaning of doing this now? Special Assistant Zhang looked embarrassed and didn't know what to say. Let me go. Be careful or I'll sue you for personal imprisonment. I was still making a fuss, my voice rising and my tone threatening. Elodie, Liam Fu's voice sounded behind me. I was slightly startled, turned around and looked at Liam Fu, then raised my lips and said, Mr. Fu, you're just in time. Your special assistant won't let me go. What do you think I should do? Liam frowned. Elodie, stop it, making a fuss. I laughed. Mr. Fu, you don't take yourself too seriously. Besides, why, what qualifications do you have to imprison me? Liam Fu said coldly. Elodie, I said stop making trouble. Heh, I'm asking you why. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Because you're my husband, or because you're a scumbag who doesn't care about us mother and daughter. After these words were spoken, Special Assistant Zhang could not help but gasp. Who doesn't know that this is Mr. Fu's Achilles heel? Liam Fu frowned helplessly and said, I will slowly make up for the guilt I have felt towards you and your daughter over the past 5 years. I quickly broke free from his restraints and said in a high-pitched, angry voice, we don't need it. Then I was locked in the room, while Lele was playing in the room. Seeing me coming back, he tilted his head and asked, Mom, didn't you say you would take me out to play? I was a little upset. But when I saw Lele, I calmed down and said, but I may not be able to go today, can we go another day? Okay, Lele smiled sweetly, revealing her cute fangs. I was also planning to talk to Liam Fu. Just as I was about to push the door open, 2 bodyguards were already standing at the door, stopping me and saying, Boss Fu has instructed that Madam cannot leave the room. I became angry and knew I couldn't get out, so I simply closed the door and sat on the bed angrily. Lele tilted his head and asked in confusion, Mom, what's wrong with you? I pursed my lips. It's okay. It was midnight, very late at night, and the earth was silent. In the room, I had just turned off the lights and was sleeping on the bed with Lele in my arms. Not long after, the door was quietly opened. I trembled slightly, but there was no big movement. I closed my eyes and dozed off, occasionally snoring. As if I was in a deep sleep, a faint light shone through the crack in the door, revealing a bright spot that shone on Liam Fu's tall figure. Watching him walk towards the bed, I closed my eyes again and pretended to sleep. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded in my ear. Elodie, what do you want me to do to forgive you? Sensing Liam Fu's departure, my tense nerves suddenly relaxed. Thinking of what he said, my heart ached. Forgive him? Then what are the past 5 years worth? Mom, Lele in her arms said softly, Dad, you don't seem happy. Don't worry about him. I held Lele's hand even tighter. A sleepless night. Early in the morning, after washing up, Liam Fu knocked on the door and asked us to get up and eat. At this time, I had already gotten up and washed up. I helped Lele to braid her hair, after finishing it neatly. Liam Fu said, come over for breakfast. I didn't say much, and took Lele to eat breakfast. After breakfast, I looked at the clock and it was already 8 o'clock. I said, I'll take Lele to school. He frowned. Just stay here, I'll see you off. No, I want to go. Seeing my firm attitude, he didn't refute me. Liam Fu took Lele's hand and walked out, and I followed behind. How ironic. The father who once ignored Lele and didn't even accompany him when Lele was born, now that the child has grown up, has started to pretend to be a loving father. We drove to the kindergarten very quickly. Oh, is Lele here? Lele nodded and smiled. Yes, good morning, teacher. This girl looks so cute. Who wouldn't like her? The teacher smiled happily and said, Lulu is the best. Then he looked at Liam Fu who was standing beside him and said, are you Lily's father? Liam Fu pursed his lips in indifference, but nodded in response. It was the first time for some teachers to meet Liam Fu, because he had only taken Lele in once since he was a child, so it was normal that they didn't know him. I'm leaving now. Go to school. After watching Lele enter the school, I left with Liam Fu, but not long after I got home, I received a call from my teacher. The teacher explained the situation to me. I trembled all over and my heart was in a knot. I could hear Lele crying on the phone. My heart suddenly became like an ant on hot pot. I was so anxious that I wanted to rush out, but was stopped by the bodyguard. What's wrong? Liam Fu's voice rang out. I looked at him with red eyes, my voice a little hoarse. Let me out. I want to go find Lele. His heart tightened. What happened to Lele? She was bullied by other kids again. He suddenly froze. You stay here. I'll go find Lele. No, I'll go. Liam F. You said nothing. Liam Fu. The one being bullied now is my daughter. And you want me to stay in the room with peace of mind? I looked at him with a sneer, with some irony in it. His eyes showed a complicated expression, and he sighed softly. Don't worry. I will definitely bring Lele back safely. What if I don't? What if I insist on going? Liam Fu said, be obedient. In a word, there is no room for reversal. Who do you think you are? Why should I listen to you? It's my daughter who's being hurt and bullied. You certainly can't understand how a mother feels. In the end, Liam Fu took me there. After learning about the situation, Liam Fu was furious and the parents of those students were so scared that they started to apologize continuously. After I finished dealing with it and returned to the villa, I never paid any attention to Liam Fu again. No matter what he did or said, I ignored him. Even Lele is the same. Liam Fu knew I was angry. Elodie. I was wrong in the beginning. You can kill me or chop me up as you please. After all, I owe you and your daughter. Ha, I sneered. Mr. Fu really takes himself for granted. Elodie. Liam Fu finally lost his patience. Do you know how we have been through these past 5 years? Because of your indifference, I have become a laughingstock in the entire Beijing community. Even a child as young as Lele has to endure those gossips and nasty words from other children. But you are so good. A simple apology disappears like smoke. You are dreaming. My eyes instantly turned red. And the peace and tranquility in my heart collapsed at this moment, but I held it back. So what do you want from me? Let Lele and I go, and we will be well. Impossible. Liam Fu's eyes were red. Then go die. I will forgive you after you die. At this moment I couldn't hold it in anymore. I thought of what he had done in the past 5 years, and hatred surged in my heart. Elodie, wait until you calm down and then we'll talk. Liam Fu ran away for his life. I don't know if Liam Fu felt guilty, but he didn't put me in solitary confinement anymore and told me to move freely and go wherever I wanted. The company I applied for before sent me a notice saying that I was accepted. It just so happens that Lele goes to school during the day and I go to work, and Lele gets out of school at night and I go home from get off work. This way there is no conflict between them. It also doesn't affect the time we spend alone together as mother and daughter. It just kills 2 birds with 1 stone. I arrived at the company according to the address. Why are you here so early? The working time is 9 o'clock, and it's only 7 o'clock now. When I looked up, I saw a man in a suit standing in front of me. Hello, I greeted politely, then smiled and said, I wanted to come here early to get familiar with the company environment, then I'll walk with you. I looked at him in confusion. He just smiled and said, I am Xiaoqing, the president of the company, and you. Blind date. My eyes widened in disbelief. What blind date? Your brother introduced you to a blind date, but unfortunately you broke the appointment that day. I suddenly remembered that my brother said he wanted to introduce me to someone. I said embarrassedly, my brother is not a decent person. Don't listen to his nonsense. You also know that I am a woman with children, and my husband and I have not divorced yet. The corners of his mouth rose slightly. It's only a matter of time. Let me take you around to familiarize you with the surroundings. I was flattered. This is not good. He beamed. It's okay. Thank you. I told my parents the news that I was looking for a job. My parents didn't want me to be tired, so they refused to agree. They told me to take Lele back to England and say that they would support me for the rest of my life. I tried to convince them, Mom and Dad. I'm already 28 years old and I'm a mother, but you still treat me like a child. I know my limits and I will take good care of myself and Lele, so don't worry. My parents finally chose to support me. My mother kept nagging, you haven't worked for a long time. What if you are bullied by your colleagues? What if I get bullied by my colleagues and don't know how to resist? What if there's a lewd man? I immediately stopped my mother's fantasy. Mom, I know what you are worried about, but I can't always rely on my family. I will take good care of myself. Don't worry. My mother sighed softly. If you are wronged, you must tell us. We will always be your strong support. It's time to get off work. Liam Fu called, but I ignored him. Would it be a pleasure to have dinner with you? My hand that was collecting the things stopped in midair. I smiled awkwardly. Sorry, I need to go home to be with the kids. Xiaoqing smiled and said, what a disappointment. I'm so sorry. Then I'll take you there, I said. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to send me off. The words have not been finished yet. Liam Fu's tall and straight figure suddenly appeared. His face was gloomy and terrifying, and he looked so fierce and vicious that he seemed to want to eat someone. Elodie, you haven't divorced me yet, and you dare to find another man. He strode in, looking aggressive. I was so scared that I turned pale and subconsciously clutched Xiaoqing next to me, but in Liam Fu's eyes, this scene turned into a loving and affectionate scene. His expression was even more fierce and violent. He rushed over and punched Xiaoqing in the face. You dare to touch my woman. You must be tired of living. What are you doing? I screamed, Pa. I raised my hand and slapped Liam Fu. If you want to go crazy, go back and do it instead of embarrassing yourself here. Liam Fu's eyes suddenly turned bloodshot, as if he was stimulated. He grabbed my wrist and pulled hard, and I fell into his arms. Let me go. I immediately struggled with rejection. I didn't want to have any contact or connection with Liam Fu now. Why, your lover is here, so you're going to start acting chaste for him. Didn't you beg me to have sex with you every day before, even when I left you covered in bruises? Didn't you just endure it obediently? Liam Fu's words became more and more explicit, with each word carrying an aggression. Why are you pretending to be pure now? Elodie, you're a slut, a whore. Liam Fu had exposed all my secret private affairs in front of Xiaoqing. Asshole, let me go. I'm disgusted by you, let me go. The word disgusting ignited Liam Fu's anger without any reservation. You said my touch was disgusting. Liam grabbed my neck and pushed me against the wall. His eyes were gloomy and he seemed to want to tear me apart. Elodie, say that again, Mr. Fu, what are you doing? Please let Elodie go. Xiaoqing wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and rushed over to save me. Liam Fu raised his leg and kicked Xiaoqing hard, sending him flying and crashing into the coffee table, causing everything on the table to shatter to the ground. Mr. Xiao. I shouted nervously, the fingers on my neck tightened at the same time, strangling me so much that I felt suffocated and my eyes almost rolled back. Why do you care so much about your adulterer? Liam Fu's eyes turned red and his face was violent. How long have you been with him? Has he ever touched you? Elodie. Liam Fu got close to that violent handsome face, and every word was as sharp as a knife. Elodie, we haven't divorced yet. Why do you treat me like this? Why are you so mean? Have you been hooking up with him for a long time, so you want to divorce me? And then, Pa, I was almost fainting, so I used all my strength to slap Liam Fu in the face. My face turned pale and my whole body was shaking. Liam Fu's stunned fingers loosened slightly, and I was able to take a few breaths. I spoke with a trembling voice. Liam Fu, so what if I love him? You know, every time you touch me, I feel particularly disgusted. You know what, Mr. Xiao is much better than you, Mr. Xiao is better than you in everything, really. Liam Fu suddenly smiled. His expression was weird and cold, which made me feel a little scared. You. Before I could finish my sentence, Liam FU'd me and pushed me against the wall. Is it disgusting that I touch you? Why, does it make you feel good when he touches you? Liam Fu's dark eyes turned completely scarlet. Elodie, if he saw the whole process of you being disgusted by me, would he dislike you for being disgusting from now on? After all, you are a bitch. Liam Fu, what do you mean? I tensed my slender body, feeling a little uneasy. Liam Fu raised his lips and revealed a cruel and ferocious smile. Then he hooked my legs and tore off my clothes. What are you doing? Let me go. I kept struggling. Rip, my pants were ripped. Liam Fu, you beast, I will kill you. Xiaoqing rushed over again, holding a sharp fruit knife in his hand. I saw it and couldn't help but exclaimed, Boss Xiao. Liam Fu had eyes on his back. He threw me aside, turned around, and kicked Xiaoqing again. Xiaoqing fell to the ground and the dagger in his hand fell out of his hand. Liam Fu picked up the dagger, and with a move of his slender fingertips, the dagger began to spin flexibly in his hand. He walked towards Xiaoqing, his whole body filled with murderous aura. Liam Fu, what are you doing? My heart was tightening as I watched Liam Fu point the tip of the dagger at Xiaoqing's chest. My head buzzed and I lost all my reason and ability to think. Bang, after a muffled sound, I regained my senses. I lowered my eyes to look at my hands, which were tightly holding the bloody ashtray, and I just used this ashtray to hit Liam Fu's head hard. A trickle of bright red blood was flowing out from the back of his head. My fingers trembled and I threw the ashtray away. Liam Fu slowly turned around, his scarlet eyes staring fiercely at me who was committing the crime. You want to kill me? He asked in a hoarse voice. I bit my lower lip, and even in my heart, I had the thought of running away. When I was standing there at a loss, Xiaoqing grabbed my hand and walked out. When he touched me, I shuddered. He stroked my head gently. It's okay, it's okay. I picked up Lele who hadn't finished school yet. I'm afraid Liam Fu will come. Lele asked me innocently. Mom, why did we get out of school so early today? I smoothed the hair on her forehead and said, Mom wanted to see you earlier today. I have never seen Liam Fu look so horrible. He was indifferent to me before and I rarely saw him. Today was the first time I saw him acting like a devil. Xiaoqing arranged accommodation for my mother and me. I begged him not to tell my brother what happened today, because I was afraid he would tell my parents and then they would worry about me. I thought Lele would resist outsiders. Unexpectedly, Lele liked Xiaoqing as soon as she saw her. He kept calling him Uncle Xiao. Lele, who had never felt fatherly love, was completely immersed in happiness. I haven't seen Liam Fu for a long time. Liam Fu whom I hadn't seen for half a month. He seemed more haggard than before, as if he had aged by 10 years. I subconsciously wanted to avoid it. Suddenly he grabbed me. Elodie, I shouted angrily, let go. Oh, he sighed. Elodie, can you forgive me? I don't know what happened to me that day. I'm sorry. Forgive you. I forced a smile. What about me? What about Lele? All the grievances that we have suffered as mother and daughter have disappeared with your words I'm sorry. Liam Fu turned pale. No, he begged again and again. Elodie, I really know I was wrong. I'm sorry. I laughed out loud. I've been in love with you for 5 years, and you're just starting to love me now. It's too late, belated love is cheaper than grass. Liam Fu, sign the divorce. Don't let me look down on you. I won't get a divorce. You bad dad, stay away from my mom. I don't know when Lele showed up and rejected Liam Fu. I found a good dad for mom. Don't come and ruin it. Liam Fu looked at the little guy in front of him in disbelief. Lele, I am your father. Lele pouted and said, you are not my dad. You only make mom sad and then bully her. You never accompany me or play with me. You promise to play with me, but you often don't keep your promises. Liam Fu finally signed the agreement, but he told me, Elodie, I will not give up on you. I signed this to end the injustice my last relationship did to you. I will pursue you again and show you my sincerity. Liam Fu is sometimes terribly paranoid about certain things. And part of the reason why his career is so successful is due to his somewhat paranoid personality, but he has always been able to control the scale well. But this time he was as paranoid as a madman. Liam Fu follows me every day. Normally he wouldn't disturb my life, but whenever I had free time, he would take off his backpack and let me see his collection of books on how to win back your wife and how to please your wife. He would show them to me like a treasure. At first I ignored it, thinking he would give up on his own over time, but he was like a plaster. I couldn't get rid of him no matter what. I was so annoyed that I suppressed my temper and said to him, Liam Fu, it's your business if you want to dwell on the past, don't pull me back. Do you know how I feel now when I think about the past? I feel sick. Why should I accept it when you say you love me? Aren't you pursuing me? Then I'll tell you the answer. I will never forgive you in my life, let alone be with you, so, don't be a bitch. Liam Fu stood there dejectedly, as if all the strength in his body had been drained away. Since then, he has not appeared beside me again, but, Zara contacted me out of the blue. Elodie, are you satisfied? Liam Fu's mind is full of you and Lele now. He can't tolerate me at all. I asked back in a cold voice. I should be the one asking you this. I've already given up my position. What else are you dissatisfied with, Elodie? Don't be so proud. Liam doesn't like you at all. He just feels guilty towards you and your daughter. I believe that it won't be long before Liam lets go of his obsession and stays with me. I sneered. Whether he loves me or not is none of my business. Leave me alone. Elodie, what are you so proud of? Now, Liam stays at home all day, drinks until his stomach bleeds, and says he's sorry for you. Zara's emotions gradually became agitated. I had no interest in enduring her hysteria, so I hung up the phone. Zara, however, insists on sending me videos every day. Liam Fu in the video looks like a drunkard, with a pile of alcohol around him, dirty clothes, messy hair, and a sloppy appearance. I felt nothing at all and blocked Zara directly. A month later, the police contacted me and asked if I knew Liam Fu and asked me to go over and handle his case. I asked the police to contact someone else, but he said he only remembered my contact information. I was forced to come to the police station. The police officer told me the whole story. Liam Fu brought a doll to the kindergarten and insisted on completing the admission procedures for it. After the principal repeatedly refused, he had no choice but to call the police. If the family member has mental problems, I suggest you take better care of him. I see he relies on you a lot. Liam Fu walked towards me, holding a doll in his arms, with a gentle smile on his face. Elodie, let's go together to complete the enrollment procedures for Lele. I looked at him calmly. Liam Fu, stop acting. Liam Fu's expression froze for a moment, and he insisted on holding my hand. Elodie, let's go together to complete the admission procedures for Lele. I pulled the doll out of his hand and threw it on the ground. Don't talk about being crazy. Even if you die now, I won't even blink an eye. You brought this upon yourself. I turned and walked out of the police station. His hoarse voice came from behind him. If I die, will you forgive me? The wind was a bit strong, so I didn't look back. Later I met Zara. She looked sallow and had lost a lot of weight. She glared at me with hatred. I walked past her calmly. I vaguely heard Xiaoqing mention that Zara went to a hotel to get drunk, was insulted and became pregnant, and she didn't even know who the father of the child was. A girl of 25 or 26 years old lived a more miserable life than a middle-aged woman of 34, covered in mud. Later, I received another call from Zara, who cried, Elodie, Liam Fu is in a very bad condition now. If you still have a conscience, come and see him. I was silent. Then he hung up the phone. Are you really not going to go see him? Xiaoqing asked me. I looked into the distance and said, no. What about the 5 years? My heart ached and my eyes welled up. Just think of those 5 years of my youth as wasted. Xiaoqing's face was full of heartache. It's just pitiful that Lele lost his father at such a young age. It doesn't matter whether she has a father or not. For those 5 years, Liam Fu was like dead and was absent the whole time. "What do you think of me, Mrs. Shaw?" We looked at each other and smiled.